Hello, everybody. It's time for more of the Great Ace Attorney. Oh, I need to pause the Spotify. It's making this unlistenable for me. Hey, how's it going? Let's get into it. So last time, we were just about to reveal why Ray suspected poison. Trying to remember, I think it's something to do with the pupils dilating? Yes.
Our pupils are dilated in the mortuary report.
Yes, that's Boko.
Which is,
Indicative.
which is what the poison is supposed to do, because the newspaper just decided to tell us what the secret poison looks like when it's been deployed. I don't know how they got that in.
I don't know why the newspaper knew that, but yeah.
Something like that.
But yeah, that is where we are.
Yes.
One second.
You want me to read this, or?
I don't remember.
I'll just read it. In that case, counsel, you will present the proof to the court now. Also, I should clarify, my throat's been on a little bit on the wonk today, so I'm going to go a little less gravelly than normal.
Yeah, I woke up with a sore throat too. Hopefully that's not indicative of something.
Yeah, I feel like there's usually something that goes around every summer. I feel like at least once a summer, I get a random throat thing.
Alright, so I believe it's in here, right, where it says the... Proof fatal minutes makes undetectable acute contraction of pupils prior to death. So it would be in this.
Take that!
In the poison article.
Then would you explain this piece of evidence's connection to the newspaper article? Oh, right, this is me.
Does that mean we were wrong?
I'm not really sure. I guess they want the death report?
They must want the autopsy report then, yeah, I guess.
Because he says newspaper. He said in relation to the newspaper.
Oh, I see. So we had already presented the newspaper.
We presented the newspaper to the newspaper. My father always told me to ask my elders, so I thought I would ask your opinion, Your Excellency. If it is advice you seek, counsel, then I suggest that, before indiscriminately thrusting evidence under my nose, why not thrust it under the nose of the professor at your side? I think he means you.
Good grief, thrusting that under my nose isn't going to solve anything here. We must use our heads. The article in the paper had details of the toxin. Now, where have we seen similar details? Does nowhere come to mind? Yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
I clicked the wrong button, alright?
It's been a week, alright? Come on, man.
Ah, you mean I ought to search through all the evidence looking for that?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, it appears the advice of your elders has given you an idea. Yes, I'd like another chance to present evidence, if I may, Your Excellency. In that case, counsel, you will blah 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 blah.
The postmortem report. Take that.
There it is. I would ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis pupil constriction was observed in the victim. Clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have no idea. So please, do tell me. Presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it's an unusual symptom of death.
Well? Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there were extreme constriction instead, that's most certainly unusual, yes. What are you doing, you yokel detective?
Calls everyone a yokel, huh?
Just as soon as somebody starts talking things he doesn't like.
What are you, a yokel?
Some kind of
In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison, the poison for Miss Brett, the poison used specifically to kill Miss Brett.
That
onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute contraction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim get stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely,
Yeah.
Yokel just sort of means like hillbilly or hick. It's used to mean like country, like
country
dumb
bumpkin.
rural country guy is the connotation at least.
Yeah.
I know you're making an egg joke with yoke as well, but in case you were serious, that's what yokel is. In case you didn't know. In case you didn't know.
As a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt. Yeah.
Prosecutor Ouchie. I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence.
You yokel student, you yokel professor.
So yeah, he's just calling it.
He's just starting to say yokel now.
Yeah, I don't like Mikotoba's. I think from the city.
You can't just say yokel.
I doesn't. It's not the own that you think it is. I guess. I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
What do you mean, no? Eugene Mikotoba.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in this newspaper, please.
It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know.
You don't know?
The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but it was unaware of any theft.
You mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded?
No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say. Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads of it in the newspaper. I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father?
Cha! A pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
That's totally unfounded.
Hold it, said somebody. Somebody without a voice? Oh, it's you.
Oh.
None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault.
Ray. Mobambi-san, you stand accused here. Outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But
what do you mean,
it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What? So you knew.
I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing. Just a tiny amount it was. Why didn't you let me know immediately? I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. Ran out of breath at the end of that. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out, because I had a very good idea who the thief was.
The thief? You don't mean...
Yeah, sorry, I don't know. I just made a noise reading Mologai's comment without any... without any further context for why I did that. The A sound is usually just pronounced as E in the Tokyo accent, so her name would probably just be Remember Me. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I had figured out that pun already. I noticed it immediately and said, fuck you. Yes, of course, it was that dainty English woman.
Miss Giselle Brett?
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? I don't remember who voiced her in the first game. I think it was me. I imagine she's not going to get a lot of play. Though. Are you sure?
I definitely wasn't.
Oh. And then she suddenly got to her feet before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsing on the floor. Someone outside the tent stabbed her, probably. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes they'd shrunk to tiny pinpoints. I don't believe it!
In other words...
Not you.
You realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips while I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body.
On the blade of the knife in her back.
And that train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade.
Yes, if the amount that had entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might still have a chance. That's what I hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time.
Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I've duly noted the courage with which you confessed it in the end.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here in this courtroom now.
Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Mumba-me-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. Well, you have no answer because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you?
I don't need the evidence, I'm the prosecutor. It's your job to prove
a prosecutor
things.
Giving evidence. Preposterous.
Ha! Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive.
What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it.
You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Ouchie.
Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student.
What?
I'd imagine there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you've brought this on yourself.
We have a photograph? Who took this?
Who took this?
Do you know how long exposure times were back in 1900? What the fuck? Fucking beans.
Could a more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on that beach is almost palpable.
This is crazy. I have so many more questions than this answers.
This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true nature of the accused's murderous nature. You know, I was given this exact voice to Flavio in Thousand Year Door, and I think that's slipping in a little bit. For it shows the... there we go. I need to put more scream on it. For it shows the precise moment...
It seems to be dead as well, yeah.
That Member-me-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true. No.
I don't believe it. Ah!
I love when her and Ryunosuke, like, take psychic damage just like they've been shot.
Order! Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom?
Perhaps his voice has yet to break. These yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature.
I'll show you who's slow to mature.
What? Careful now, Susato is starting to show her face here.
It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000.
Is it often said? Pictures have existed for like 20 years.
Yeah.
A picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photograph print as evidence.
Are you sure? The incriminating photograph has been entered into the court record.
I can't believe he's had a photograph of like that up his sleeve the entire time. It's such a stark image, I'm genuinely lost for words.
Wait a minute, I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? It's a fair question. The first one we asked.
Ray. Remember.
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert
What do you mean?
attention.
What do you mean it's of no importance?
Yeah, objection.
That's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony.
I want their name to just be like, I did it or something.
I'm murderer.
It's me, killer.
Hi, it's me, Kira, a lot.
I will uphold the defense's demand. Because, the prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once.
Like, this judge is much more reasonable than some of the other judges.
Oh, this is the best judge in terms of, being closest to a real court. This guy is the top one. None of the other judges come close. The British judge is at least funniest, probably. Or no, the Canadian judge does exist.
Yeah. The judge's brother. The Canadian judge.
The Canadian judge.
Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Excuse me?
What do you mean? Pardon?
You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday. But there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of the print is unknown. Then we can't use it, probably, right?
It's incredibly sketchy, at least. Imagine in current year if someone got shot and then random security footage showed up on an unmarked USB drive, just dropped off at police headquarters. I feel like they'd be like, I don't know. That's convenient. Seems like the youngest judge. Yeah, probably. I mean, he's still
not gray
50,
yet.
I'm sure, but he's not the oldest man in the world or whatever. Are we to understand, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph has the murkiest of origins, you nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court?
When you first produced that print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment. Because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence, yokel student and blabbering professor! What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses.
But the defendants already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but...
The moment it was withdrawn? Don't waste this court's time with your ramblings.
Indeed. Without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim. The scene captures without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear.
Oh no!
Maybe if we look at that other photo, we'll see a hole that we didn't notice before, or something behind where the chair
Yeah,
is.
there'll be something. new.
Or something that was there that we didn't think to look for the first time. Susato, this is the time for you to fight.
Have let us look for.
If what you established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment the ray withdrew the blade from the victim.
Yes, we just need to prove that somehow.
You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you came up against Taketsuchi Aochi in a court of law.
Susato, we have to cook.
If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. There must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it.
Alright, let's take a look at this guy. Where was the chair? Aha, there is like a slit in behind where the chair is.
I feel like we should first look at the photo that we just got, right?
Probably. But I did want to know about that first thing. But yeah, this is... I don't know. I mean, she's already on the ground for one thing.
He's already on the floor.
I don't know if that helps per se. This is cracked.
It's cracked, yeah, it's broken.
The lens is cracked.
Alright, let's look at the newspaper quick. Because, not that one, the other one.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, this lens is also... Aha!
That lens is
this
also
photo
cracked.
is also cracked in the same way. So this is Natsume's reporter photograph guy.
The guy that follows Natsume around.
Yeah.
Yep. I was gonna say, that crack looked really familiar.
I didn't even notice that first one.
I know. You're welcome.
Thanks.
I take full credit of this. Look at me go.
You can have
the
this one.
last time I'll contribute.
Nah, this is your dub for sure.
It's because it was one of the few other photographs I remembered seeing. And I was like, wasn't there? Because I thought it was weird that it was cracked there in the newspaper.
Yeah, I didn't even, like, notice that was a thing.
I was like,
the first time we saw it.
Like, why did they fuck that up?
Well, Council.
Then I was wondering if that fucking photo guy was gonna come up again.
Yeah, nobody seems to have acknowledged him so far.
Your Excellency, the burning question is who took that photograph. And the truth is, I have the answer. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with an answer now. I simply have to.
We're the patented Phoenix, right? I'm gonna start saying some shit and we'll figure it out on the way there.
The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal.
What? No! You can't possibly! But, as you so boldly claim that you can, please do enlighten us!
Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name.
How utterly underwhelming! Did you really believe you could...
However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. This pen! Sis is waffling. Yeah, dude. Like she works at the house. But what? Oh, dude, what if I just called like a Waffle House the house? Anytime I went there?
The
How cool would that be?
I've made it to the house.
Very well then, Council. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you blah 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 blah?
The article.
Newspaper. Take that. I don't know why the newspaper used that guy's photo.
Yeah.
Unless he's the newspaper reporter that just follows Soseki around, but I would.
I must be.
What is that? The newspaper again? Raucous England returnees tell all.
It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. Look at this photograph.
Look at this graph.
If you look closely, you notice that there's some white lines on the right-hand side.
It's not even making us point it out.
I was pretty sure when that guy popped up earlier, his lens was cracked on his camera. But I might just be, like, false remembering that.
Yeah, might just be making that one up because it's true.
I don't fully remember that one for sure, for real. But I thought that it was.
Ah, yes, indeed. They had already caught my eye, as it happens.
Ha! What of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably, from the branches of the tree or the like. There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you.
Now, if you look closely at this photograph, look at this photograph.
Good gracious!
Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photo too.
Well, that tells us nothing. Ha! Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree.
There are no trees on the beach. Oh, there wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach council.
Yeah.
What's quite remarkable about it is the two patterns are absolutely identical. I'm looking at them both, one with each eye.
And if I cross my eyes, something
Like
the
I played
defense
the
has
Nintendo
problems
DS.
at.
Oh, hey, speaking of, I was going to bring this up the next time I played Ace Attorney. Turns out, great news, I've been doing magic eye puzzles wrong my entire life.
Oh,
Learned
no.
about it within the last, 6 months, and now I can do them properly.
Get the
Yeah,
rifling marks of the photo. It's like the fingerprint of a camera.
It's like the fingerprints of a camera. It turns out that I was crossing my eyes, which there are images that are kind of like magic eye images that are meant to work when you cross your eyes, but it's called like cross viewing. Right. Magic eyes require you to parallel view, which means you unfocus and uncross your eyes, because your eyes are normally slightly crossed to intersect what they see to give you depth. Yeah, you have to unfocus your eyeballs. Because I was like, how are people in the comments of this fucking Reddit post reading text that's hidden in the image and stuff? I don't get that much detail. And then I realized, and then I read more about it, and I went, oh. It turns out the image is supposed to pop out at you and not be sunken in further. Anyways, I need to bring that up here because we talked about it during the first of this game with the whole eye crossing nonsense.
Yeah. Like 2 years ago, I remember vaguely.
Yeah.
How could such an extraordinary similarity have transpired?
It didn't.
It's not
a matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints as a result of a camera defect.
Yeah, I assume.
The lens is broken as fuck. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs.
With the photographic device? Yes, we can confidently say that the camera's lens must be scratched, and that the scratched lens causes unwanted lines to appear in every print taken with the device.
In short, the two photographs under consideration here were taken with the same camera.
But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection! I think you're forgetting, Professor Ouchie, that one of those photographs featured in a newspaper article.
A newspaper? Ah!
That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime.
What? Wow! What?
Soseki, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see why you're called a raucous England returnee.
What are you yelling about? You've already testified.
Menimemo. That's the laziest one they've done. That one's pissing me off a little bit. Okay, sure, fine.
Sure, whatever, man.
Come on. Actually, though, really? It's Menimemo, I tell you. Menimemo. Me, mem, mo.
Are you having a stroke?
So Seki-san? What was that? Did you say Menimemo? Ever since I returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyu News has been hounding me, following my every move we've been. A reporter by the name of Raiten Menimemo.
Raiten Menimemo.
This one is fucking... I hope whoever wrote this one got fired. Listen,
I wonder if
I'm
the
a
puns
fan
are
of
better in
puns, even.
Japanese. You know, I wonder if it's
Japanese?
better Japanese. I just kind of mumbled that one.
I'm a big fan of the Japanese. Japanese. I hope to God they're somewhat better. Listen, I even like bad puns, but this one is just annoying. I can't explain exactly why, but it is. A reporter by the name of Raiten Menimemo, yes, hounded me from dusk till dawn.
Names in other languages.
Look at me is funny.
Look at me is pretty good. Heita Manemomi? Boy, that's they got the vibe of it correct, certainly. That is hard to read.
Ah, now that he mentions it, it's gonna flash back to 5 minutes and yep. There he is. Yeah, no, it's not visually cracked on this side.
Yeah.
He does have a fucking eye patch though, I think. That's kind of wild. Or is that...
That might just be his hair from this angle. It's hard to say.
Oh, he needs to turn back around. Could that same reporter be... A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with Raiten Menimemo. What a weird pull. Really?
I mean, the last one did my way.
Yeah, I guess.
Randomly, and I didn't figure it out until halfway through.
It's just...
It's weird.
Fucking... Dealer's wheel? Really? Of all the things?
Of all the things?
Of all the small things?
So you're saying this picture was taken by...
By Menimemo! Yes, my lord, your excellency, Esquire!
Officer! Find this newspaper reporter at once and fucking kill him and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime.
Oh, yes, your excellency.
As you say, your excellency.
And one more thing.
One more thing. There's two different shows that I can reference when I say one more thing.
It's Jackie Chan Adventure and Columbo.
Yes, very different shows, and yet somehow the same.
Strange.
I want this knife, the murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. But I thought the poison was untraceable, but whatever. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood?
Just remember how it said in the article that we showed you that the poison is untraceable?
Yeah.
Meh. It wouldn't show up.
Maybe
they have another way of doing it. Maybe they got like an untraceable poison trace, or...
Columbo's probably.
I think Columbo's more appropriate. Are you... What? Jackie Chan Adventures also had a lot of investigating.
One more thing. I found this here talisman at the crime scene.
It was a lot of looking for stuff, I'll have you know.
Yeah, they had to get the talismans. Is Jackie Chan Adventures functionally similar to Shaolin Showdown in terms of plot structure?
In terms of getting the magic MacGuffins.
They have to find magic MacGuffins.
But, like, there's no recurring... The recurring villains are handled differently, from what I remember. Because, like, a lot of times, the talisman of the week was annoying to get for like some unrelated reason, and not fucking Jack Skeptic Eye or whatever that guy's name was being there
Jack
again.
Spicer. And that witch whose name I don't remember. 13th August, 10:41 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature.
And then Jade always showed up. God, I hated Jade on my rewatch.
Yeah. Defendant's Antechamber 3.
Jackie would be like, hey, Jade, I'm going to go into a literal volcano. It's going to be really dangerous. And Jade would be like, okay, Jackie. And then she'd immediately break out. And half the times, she would cause a problem, which she would then have to solve herself.
I'm so sorry, anyway. Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Yes. Yes, you should have.
Ray.
You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. The pizza you ordered arrived, hot damn. So I hope to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out.
Nice, what kind of pizza? Pizza pie?
Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence? That you'd stand by me to the last?
I want to answer on this pizza.
I
need to know the details.
We must know about the pizza.
You can't just drop facts like, oh, I got a pizza, and not tell me what kind of toppings you got. What kind of sauce you got. This is very critical, Mola guy. It's critical to me to know these things. Don't ask why. That's not for you to know.
It's not your business.
It's a pizza with mushrooms and olives. I like one of those ingredients. Quite a lot, actually. I'm a big fan of mushrooms. I've never figured out olives. They always taste like pain to me. Or like death.
I don't really fuck with either of those things, TBH.
Yeah, I know.
I've become more tolerant of vegetables recently, but mushrooms I still don't like.
Well, mushrooms aren't a vegetable.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Fungus.
That's completely unrelated, isn't it?
Fungus.
I remember.
No, I'm remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets.
Bro, calm down. I'm no better, you know.
Oh?
Even though in my heart I knew that you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you.
That's the same as lying to my face. Susato.
Was that a kink thing? Definitely.
Oh,
she took it way too far for it to not be.
Just
but also, Mola guy, you need to give me more details on this pizza. Thick crust or thin? Stuffed crust, maybe even? And you gotta give me the deets on the sauces and cheeses. Because, I mean, like, you just get a classic tomato sauce? Or, like, is there something weird going on? Something a little not tomato-y? Because let me tell you, I recently, the other day, had this spinach and feta pizza, and it had, like, I don't know, some sort of was it
like an Alfredo sauce?
It was like a garlic sauce, I think, like a garlic aioli in a way, but not obviously an aioli because that's mayo type shit.
That's a burger thing, yeah.
And fucking Domino. I don't know. It's normal cheese and sauce. That's good too. Normal. How dare you?
Standard cheese.
How dare you? Undersell the might of the standard za. Listen, I'm a big fan of pizzas. They just need to have more pizzas available that don't have meat toppings on them. And that's only for when you get an order from a place where you can't change the toppings. What I mean to say is Quick Trip should release more pizzas that don't have meats on them. Because you can't change the toppings on a Quick Trip take and bake. Steven, I expect you to pen a letter to the Zietlos.
Why don't you do it? They're not going to listen to me. They won't listen to you either, to be
you
fair.
have an in. You have an in. You're an employee, a valued member. So, take this down. Mr. Zietlo.
Hold on. Okay.
I don't remember which one's in charge these days. I'll call him Tommy. Dear Tommy.
Dear Tommy. I wrote yes? I'm not erasing it. Alright.
Just write, what's up with the za? And then sincerely, Joshua Schmidt, dictated but not read.
Boy, this is getting bad. There we go.
Good lord.
I hit some buttons that weren't the right buttons.
Well, the good news is it obscured my last name at least, so no one will ever know.
Joe Shao Schmeat.
My name is Joe Shao Schmeid.
Schmeid.
That's it.
Content.
I'm sorry.
You should be.
No, I was supposed to say that as a character.
Oh.
My brain paused for a second. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised that stand by. What? I promised you that I'd stand by your side. I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as your lawyer.
Oh, no.
We got through it.
I think this situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task.
Yes, Father. That fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can see more clearly now. The rain has gone. So, Ray, mi fa sol la ti do.
Eh?
Can you find it in your heart to forgive me?
Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now.
Oh, Ray. She's really not beating the lesbian allegations.
No. I was so scared, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes.
And you were the only people in the hut at the time?
That's right, just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that.
There was a big hole in the hut. What do you mean?
A great mystery indeed.
What do you mean? They took a photo through it.
I still can't believe it happened. That's just why I can't bring myself to speak up.
It will be all right. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you said you saw is true.
Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now,
Is
I think... yes, for sure. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial,
a
don't we?
5-cheese blend?
Ooh,
fuck yeah!
That's a lot of cheese.
Excellent. That's a great cheese spread. I don't get why so many pizza places use cheddar, though. I'll be honest. I'm a big fan of cheddar. It just has always felt a little strange on a pizza.
It feels like it'd be overpowering in like the pizza blend.
Well, I mean, they get like a really mild cheddar, you know. They're not using aged.
Right.
But still. But yeah, you have the mozzarella, your feta, your fadina, your parmesan.
We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order.
Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now.
Yeah, about that.
Didn't it say it was untraceable?
The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids.
Oh, she's saying it now. Okay, good.
The police won't have any way of testing for it.
Oh, I see. That's why it said that in the newspaper.
Yes, without this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin. What? If you had this...
But
why do you have it then?
Hey, Dad!
Why didn't you give this to the judge?
Without this, it's impossible. Damn, if only we had this exact thing.
If only we had this bottle. Gee, I'm feeling thirsty. Glug, glug.
Glug, glug, glug.
If only you had some of this chemical reagent.
Oh. Okay. I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters.
He's recovered it.
I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. To use on the pen for when it's in the secret pen chamber.
For the pen, yeah. When it's in the pen chamber.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet.
It's this newspaper article. Exclusive deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I wonder how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was the same reporter, I'm sure.
It was all the Englishwoman's doing.
What?
It was when the professor and Soseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swanned in without any compunction, said to Professor Mikatova. Because she has a swan hat.
Yeah.
Oh, Professor, surely your guests would love to hear about your work on that substance there. It put me in a very awkward position, to be frank. But Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction.
As expected from Wisconsin. It's true, I am a cheesehead after all. God, cheese is what we do. Except the only thing I will admit to freely is that I've never been into like blue cheeses or the like.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan.
The very funky cheeses. I've never broken into the funky cheese realm.
Yeah, but even when I used to, so there was like a microwave meal I used to get a bunch that was like had like a blue cheese topping on it. It was a like buffalo chicken with blue cheese, macaroni and cheese thing. And the macaroni and cheese part was fine, and the chicken was fine, and the blue cheese was usually too much. But it was impossible to know how much they had put in any given, like, carton of it, because it was inside the thing. So you would open it up sometimes and be like, there's not very much blue cheese in there, that'll be fine. And then sometimes it's like, that was way too much blue cheese they put on this one.
A lot of blue cheese this time. Yeah, I don't know. I've never gotten too far into those. I'm a big fan of a lot of other cheeses, though. Like, you know, fucking provolone, a little Gouda, some crazy... You know what I need to do? I need to get myself over to the cheese plant in town. Not the big one, the smaller one. They got a cheese store, and I need to buy me some real old fucking cheddar. They got some, like, 3-year aged cheddar and shit. Fucking dynamite. You can't do much with it, though, because it's very powerful. But as a tasting cheese, my God.
As something to just have a couple bites of.
Yeah, I mean, it's delicious on just a charcuterie board. Spread with some, some crackers available. You wouldn't. I mean, I would at least put it in most cooking. It's like, that's a powerful cheese.
Powerful.
So then, Soseki-san knew about the poison.
Yes, and it's highly likely that the reporter who was writing up the story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin, too.
This Menimemo-san.
Mhm.
By the way, did that reporter join you all when you went to the beach?
Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there.
I'm a cause of the stereotypes.
Yeah. A known criminal had been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office.
And he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. And then he posted it anonymously to the police.
Ah. Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel! We've just heard the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed to the courtroom at once. It's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Yes!
That's me.
That's me! Ray has put her faith in me now and told me everything.
I hope.
So I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day.
Messing with your microphone or looking for something under your desk?
What, I can't rummage around?
13th August, 11:30 a.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Courtroom 1.
Listen, I'm moving my stuff around. You know? I don't have to explain anything to anybody. I got a feet ottoman and I like to move it around. Sometimes I move it away so I don't have my feet up. And sometimes I move it back in position. I put my feet up. My little feetsies.
You should put it on like a little cart. Just staple some wheels to the side of it.
I guess. It doesn't take that much though. So I shove it. I leave it under the desk. I just shove it to the side. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Raiten Menimemo. Remember me. Professor, God damn it, Prosecutor Ouchie. Have you summoned the new witness?
Before I address that question, Your Excellency, bad start. I have some very important news to share.
Oh? What news? And why does he look so happy about it?
During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mitoba's laboratory at Yume University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Mr. Zalebrett's life.
Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter.
Oh, too kind, Your Excellency, too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. I had the reagent delivered to the police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I feel we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable.
Yeah, there's no poison on the knife. And, Counsel, what were the results?
This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, had no trace of poison anywhere along its blade.
What? Are you sure about that?
I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the reagent, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake. The murder weapon has been entered into the court record.
I wouldn't say couldn't, but they definitely didn't in this case.
The police don't make mistakes. In short, the accused's feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. Now, the prosecution is ready to call the new witness.
The newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness.
No trace of poison on the knife. But if that's really the case...
How was she poisoned?
How could the toxin have entered the victim's body? Pen.
Oh, do you think she, like, was...
Pen, pineapple, apple pen.
Was just, like, fucking around with the pen and, like, got it by accident or something?
It's possible.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Do you want to take this one, or do you want me to do it?
Let's see. Who am I in this room right now? Judge. Yeah. We're both 2 people already in this room. So we can't go by that metric. How about you take this one?
All right. Raiten Menimemo of the Show You News. I'm what people like to call a journo.
What is a journo, Father? Do you know?
It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops in the print the next morning. I'm reading too fast.
Oh, good lord.
They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing, the nice guy of news.
Oh, he's a nice guy. They entered the wound of her removed tooth. Oh, Momo guy. Oh, so, it was you who took this photograph, was it?
Well, well, what have we here?
I'm sorry?
Oh, brace yourselves, people. Menimemo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. The readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold as a 72-point font in a 5-leg format for the morning edition.
What?
Right then. Let's start with your name.
Oh, it's Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Next, what made you want to become a lawyer?
Well, I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose.
Ryutaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see.
I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while.
By the way, my name is Takatsuchi Aochi. That's Taketsuchi Aochi. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart. No, the readers won't buy that. What?
Witness?
Yes?
What this court demands to know is whether or not you're responsible for taking this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday.
Yeah, I wouldn't be a journo if I didn't click quick when you presented... Click quick when presented with a scoop like that now, would I? Sorry, that was a weird one. Sometimes stories call out to me. Sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way, you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call my mini-memoism. Oh, boy.
Oh, hey, that's that symbol that we were looking for. It's on his wristband.
Ah, it was a pen from the pen. Oh, so he must have stabbed her with it and then put it in his hand or something.
Menimemo is RM.
Oh, his name is RM. Ah.
Yeah. Because we were looking for that weird circle with a cross design. It's his not wristband, armband.
Nice. That must be the symbol of the paper or something. Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself and Zoseki-san.
The readers all correct with the name Aochi. May suggest pain?
Yes, right. That was me, Menimemo again. Yeah, you're right. It's the same symbol that was on the other side.
On the end of the pen.
Yeah, it's his pen.
Yep,
so she must have grabbed it when he stabbed her with the poison or whatever. And that's how he got access to the poison, as he was there for the interview.
Yeah, he stole the poison. The poison for Cusco.
Cusco's poison. Well, you were supposed to be going back to the Show You news offices after our meeting. But the scoop is I didn't. Because that English woman's words had piqued my journalistic interest.
Miss Brett's words?
A criminal, left to do as she pleases just because she happens to be a British citizen. It's horse dung. This country's judiciary is Russian to the core. Damn, he
I wonder
snapped
what
that
his
in half.
motive is.
Yeah. The Supreme Court's rulings aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Stay your tongue, young man. These are complex political issues at play. Humph. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my Menimemo memo pad. Fuck. I'm surprised I got that in one. Are you ready?
really
I'll read it
glad
out.
I
It's all
didn't
here.
want to
Right
miss
here
this guy.
goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going on some junket. These people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them.
We
To get
saw
the
a
woman's
pen
story.
destroyed counter.
Huh?
I'll just say ding every time. Ding, ding. All right, we're caught up.
To get the woman's story so I could hammer her in the press.
Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph?
Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journo eyes, from start to finish, through the viewfinder of my trusty camera.
Thank you, Menimemo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly what it is that you witnessed. What it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding Miss Brett's death.
The way this game words things sometimes is really...
It just catches me off guard. It's very, like, it works. I just like,
The camera never lies. It's unusual. It's correct, but unusual. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens, so there were plenty of gaps I could see through inside. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor.
Ding.
She stabbed her in the back. My smoldering journo spirit burst into flames. Quick as a flash, I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot.
Read screens, you say?
Right! You can see them clearly enough in that great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds.
Please to pass through and bring some relief from the summer heat.
And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. What?
Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut?
Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish.
And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens.
Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was the gamble of a lifetime. The tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. I just kind of fucking ruined that whole sentence. That's fine. Run a risk
That's
one day,
fine.
run a scoop the next. That's Menimemoism in a nutshell.
It's alright. I fucked up the invasion of privacy. It's not like people aren't gonna notice. You just gotta never bring it up.
Just never bring it up.
Oh no!
Oh no.
We failed!
At last! It would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. Evidence and testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict.
No.
Wonderful news, Your Excellency, wonderful! Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter.
Why did he report it?
Why then was the story never published?
Oh, that's right.
Seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood. Ha! More pathetic excuses!
Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye.
He's a
He's keeping something about
transformer.
this- He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest.
Cross-examination. The camera never lies. Beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screens. There were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. And, let's just press everything. Why not?
I was gonna say, we could just press everything, right?
Yeah.
What made you want to see what's happening inside the beach hut in the first place?
I'm a massive pervert. Call it journo instinct. Can you think of a better reason?
I saw that hot broad walk in and I went, awooga! Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because, as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman.
Literally just directly calling him out. Ah, I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting the journo as a voyeur.
It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the women's knowledge.
Like, literally, yes.
You were doing all the steps of voyeurism.
Nope, you've got it all wrong, little student boy.
Sorry?
To my mind, all that was inside that hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less.
You see,
Scoops know no gender, man or woman. It's all news. That's not even Menimemoism. It's just basic journalism.
I'm only aroused by a story. If only the courtroom was as indiscriminate.
Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on?
It's not, but okay.
Sure. It's still a bad thing you did. Not on top of the murder that you also definitely did.
Wasn't the exposure time of cameras in 1900, or was it really that short? I don't think so.
Probably not.
I'm pretty sure we were still talking about several minutes at least. Hold on, before we move on, I am going to look that up. Exposure time of 1900. Ooh, photography 1900. Let's see here. Several seconds to several minutes. Those minute-long exposures became less common as advancements were made throughout the 1900s. I'm pretty sure we're in like several minutes territory.
Yeah.
Still, which would explain why he only got the photo
picture
of her. Well, it would be blurry. Like let's be real. It would be blurry in real life. But he got the picture of like her pulling out the knife only. Was because he probably had to poison her and then set up his shit. Anyways, good joke, Mullah guy. I'm not talking about his suspenders.
Tell the court then, witness, what sight befell your eyes.
A sight that vindicated my journo instinct, that's what. When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day. The English woman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. And that part's true, but we'll interrogate it.
So you actually saw Mabami-san entering the hut?
Yep, and she was raging. Raging like my journo spirit. Raging like my boner. For
like
journalism, you see.
For journalism, you see. I'm aroused by a scoop. And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly?
You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing.
Talking about the poison, I suppose.
The student girl walked right up to the English woman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she'd laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs. Man should have been an author. His descriptive talents are wasted on journalism.
There's also kind of a small hint in the fact that the pen is his. Not only in the literal obvious symbol, but the fact that he's got pen smudges on his hand, which looks like characterization until you realize he's only holding pencils.
Yeah. But the student's rantings fell on deaf ears like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time.
Really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest.
Anyway, the point is, that woman in the dock was mightily angry. And her temper finally got the better of her, it seems. Dear me. Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the English woman to the floor. She stabbed her in the back.
Hold it!
Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place?
Ha! The precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out, from start to finish. I have here a simple plan. The band of the beach hut.
I'm sorry that I'm not perfect.
Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. I would rather you didn't, but okay. Right you are. It's all here in my Menimemo pad. That's really hard to say. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the Englishwoman was on this stool at the back of the hut here. Yes, the accused's own testimony confirms that.
She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted down.
It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt.
Ugh.
Then, the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut.
The evil student girl.
After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut, arguing furiously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And then a flash plunged the knife into her adversary's back as the two of them passed each other.
What you describe is a grim crime indeed.
Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what Menimemoism says. The beachhead plan has been entered into the court record.
By the way, Menimemo-san, whilst you were watching that terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film?
Journos have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our raison d'etre.
That's not...
Raison
What?
d'etre. French reason for being, I think, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like the raison d'etre. I know that. I'm saying that he's saying is stupid.
The thing
not that I don't understand. Not that I don't understand well-known French phrases.
It was just a dumb thing to say.
I'm just saying it's an insane thing to say. Being like, oh, I'm a reporter, so I can't stop.
I can't prevent murder.
I just gotta let the murder happen and then tell everyone about the murder. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all?
Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside, looking in.
And that's something to be proud of, is it?
Your Excellency, if I may.
Yes, Professor?
I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony.
Father, what are you...
I will grant the defense's request. Menimemo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement.
Well, nihilism is the foundation of Menimemoism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless. What? Never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was there only as an observer.
Okay, well then why was your pen inside,
Why was
idiot?
your pen in there, yeah.
I mean, the pen is going to be the thing. But I don't know if we... Can we reveal it? I don't know if the game wants us to.
RM, small model.
not?
I mean, we remember the symbol. I mean, we can press and see what it says.
Really? You didn't set foot inside the hut at all? Are you quite sure about that?
I think you may have the wrong impression of me. Like he's thrusting his armband into the camera. We're talking about a murder scene here. My nerves are stretched to breaking point already.
Oh, I see. You were scared? Maybe I did have the wrong impression of you. Yes.
It was all I could do to stifle a scream and hold my hand steady enough to snap the shot. You really should have summoned help before thinking of your camera. Menimemoism and humanism don't always agree. And most of the time in these instances, Menimemoism comes out on top. As a sculptor of stories, sometimes I have to be cruel for my art. Yes, that's spot on.
Surely he's making all this up.
He claims to have spied the whole affair from start to finish. If true, his testimony is devastating. But, nope.
But it does seem as though he's holding something back, doesn't it?
If that's how you feel, I suggest that you trust your instincts and press him on everything he said. As you've no doubt seen many times before in your role as a judicial assistant.
Yes, I have. I've seen witnesses like this pressed often. I know exactly what to do.
Alright, so the only thing it revealed was that map, which I'm sure we'll use later. Pulled out a knife.
I think it's isn't there another thing to... Yeah.
Oh yeah, we never got this statement.
Yeah, we added a statement, but you have like 3
and then
more
it skips
statements
to the end, which is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very strange. The court is fully aware of your desire to capture the incident on film, I'm sure. But why then did you choose to post the photograph anonymously to the police?
I'm afraid I don't understand a word that's coming out of your mouth.
I'm asking why, as a journalist, you decided not to make a story out of the incident.
Think of me as a sculptor who makes art out of the sordid private details of other people's lives. But I never discuss my own personal life on principle. I mean, that's basic Menimemoism.
It's not something to boast about.
No doubt your burning desire to see the truth exposed and justice done was what motivated you. That's it, that's brilliant,
whatever.
my burning desire to see something or other exposed.
There has to be a good reason why he didn't think to write an article about this, though. Because he did it.
Yeah,
Probably.
obviously.
He didn't want it in the paper.
By your own
This cool
admission,
crime I committed.
you were outside the hut. How then did you manage to take this
Ah, yes,
photograph?
that. I'm glad you asked. I pulled apart the rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. Right, this is the last press.
But the 2 women inside didn't notice.
Ha! Obviously not. If they had, where would I be right now? In jail, that's where.
Which you'd think would make you reflect on what you were doing.
No, a journo's job is to collect little snippets of life as unobtrusively as possible. Leave nothing but
That's not
footprints, take
always
nothing
true.
but photos. Yes, that's spot on. That's not the thing.
Did he just make that up?
The point is, the witness risked life and limb to obtain this photograph. And this photograph reveals the whole truth. There is nothing more to be said. I never once set foot in the hut. Then why's your pen in there, fuckboy?
Yeah, I think we would just go with the pen. Be the first thing to try out. Menimemo-san, until now, I've had a firm belief that newspapers are in the business of uncovering and publishing the truth.
You are misinformed. You're spot on there. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Shoyu News on my arm. In a way, that's more Menimemoism.
This cool symbol. Have you seen the symbol on my arm?
The cool
The
one.
symbol? The symbol on my arm. The symbol here. This one.
This one.
Have you seen it?
Have you seen it? Have you seen it before, maybe? Before now?
Have you seen it on something else?
Some other
Anything
sort of
else?
object?
You may have seen it before, just recently.
Think about
This
it.
symbol. think about it. Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel? I got that word in one
Menimemo-san,
shot.
do you recognize this fountain pen? Yeah, good job, recriminatory.
Yeah, I just kind of said it very fast, and it came out correctly.
Oh, look at him
Ah!
pour in sweat.
Ah!
Dude looked like fucking Jordan Peele in that one skit. This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died.
What are you...
If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, remember me.
No one else has those 2 initials.
No one
No
has.
one in this courtroom. Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also R.M.?
He looks shook.
Dude, look at him.
No!
Raiten Menimemo. R.M.
That's horse dung. Can't you see? One of the central tenets of Menimemoism is being a pencil user.
And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand there's a very obvious blue ink stain.
It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horsey horse dung.
Menimemo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly.
I wonder if he just poured the poison in her wine, by the way, too.
Oh, yeah, because that was on the ground also.
I was going to say, he probably just, like, slipped it in, because if he went into the hut, he probably slipped it in.
Yeah, if he
like,
did
from the fountain pen. Like, because you can spurt out fountain pens. That's an action they have.
Yeah.
So he probably just did that to poison her wine, and then stabbed her and, like, pushed her, outside the tent.
Yeah.
The hut. Or something like that. Or maybe he stabbed her and then left the hut. Either way. He stabbed her.
It does seem like
she
stabbed her from outside because that crack is there. I don't know why they would bother showing that otherwise. But I think you're right that he'd probably just emptied the poison into whatever she was drinking.
Yeah. And then he was like, I'll wait for someone to walk in and pull the knife out and then claim that person killed her.
Genius.
Yes. Genius.
Show Your News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky.
Pens squirting. Yeah, that's how you get the ink out. You can kind of like, they're cool actually. I kind of want to own a fountain pen, but I don't write important enough documents.
Sad.
At least not in paper. Pen and paper. The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is.
And in that case, counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies.
Of course, Your Excellency. The end of the pen. The clue on this fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is...
The fountain pen.
Boop.
Oops. Yeah.
There's some sort of emblem here.
Yeah. I saw present as I hit
examine it again?
I hit A instead of Y. There we go.
Got it. It's this, and then I pull out the pen and talk to my dad for a second. As well as the initials, there's also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will, of course, recognize, Menimemo-san.
Goodness me, it's the emblem of Show You News.
In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Show You News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Menimemo-san, how do you respond?
No! Yeah!
He-Man! Order! Explain yourself, witness!
Now he'll compose himself.
Ha! So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets?
I've used nothing but honest tactics.
All right then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Show You News reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman.
An interview?
You never mentioned this before.
What exactly was this?
As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. I couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. I was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing, and as many memoists say, the peoples don't pay their dues for unworthy news.
However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. You will testify now under oath about the precise nature of this meeting and what transpired.
Got it, yes, all right, but on one condition. Condition? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witnesses, Soseki Natsume-san. Why?
So Seki-san?
Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own, and brace yourselves, because it's not a harmless one, it's big. What? Why?
What?
Why does he get to make this demand? Menimemo states that one man's secret is every other man's front page story.
Well, I grant the witness's request in this instance.
For
I
some
think it'll
reason.
be funny. Listen, I think it's gonna be a good yuck for me, the judge. Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand.
So Seki-san hiding something?
No.
No, there's just no way. That's fucking. We
The
picked
witness's
correctly
secrets.
because now we have the same number.
I asked the English woman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this Raiten man here asked the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why Menimemo demands I reveal it now.
I'll be honest, I forgot about my
You've
counting
missed a
thing.
couple
I think he's up to
things.
5 or 6.
Something like that.
You mean to say the victim?
The victim regained consciousness?
Well,
And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
that's, true, yes.
He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very definite answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. Watching this animation from behind is very funny. This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack?
It did. It wasn't even a conversation. Yes, I did pose the withering English Rose a question. I don't deny it. But she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious even.
Sometimes he just throws the evens in there for you.
I know, right? It's perfect.
Counsel for the defense. I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. This court must and will know the truth.
Absolutely, Your Excellency. Outrageous. Egregious. Oh no, egregious. I always get those two confused because they're spelled very similarly.
Yeah.
Preposterous. I like the word egregious. It's fun to say.
Yeah.
The reporter is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow? What on earth could have happened in that hut? Me when I'm looking at my pizza.
How did this get here?
How did I get here?
Watching secretly from outside, saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. Detective realized the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. Asked the woman a very significant question. What was it? What was it?
What was the question? Explain the question. What question? What exactly did he say?
Well now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Raiten Man? Out with it, you yokel hack! What do you say to her? What do you say to the dying Englishwoman?
Well, in truth, I'd been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see.
Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man.
But then all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Ray, you didn't think to bring up that she was yelling for help
Yeah.
before? No? Anyway. I ran up the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Hosonaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin! But what did you ask her, Soseki-san? I asked her, who did this to you?
Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond?
She didn't. She said nothing in response. But...
He's fucking tweaking, dude.
Yeah, I love this guy's animations. It's wild.
When in the stand, you answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony.
I will!
Go on. She never
I asked her
replied.
She lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Which direction?
Hold it!
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant. Soseki-san, is that really true? It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, and the student girl standing
so
on the far side of her.
Pointing past her.
She was pointing past her to the guy outside. When I asked who did this to you. Thank you. No, I got it. I'm glad you spelled it out, though. The Englishwoman summoned her last ounce of strength to point a trembling finger at the back of the hut. Which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of a student girl who stands accused today. No.
Soseki-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your initial testimony?
You didn't ask.
But fiddlesticks, I say.
This is not a British court of law. You respond in Japanese.
Yes, of course. The Englishwoman did point her finger toward the back of the hut, but I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. Thinking about it, as though perhaps she was pointing a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. To somewhere at the back of the hut, where nobody was standing at all. You mean that your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it, unclear. I'm very, very unclear.
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly, but there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing. It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could possibly have committed this crime.
I'm inclined to agree. In the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
No. No!
The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyer's hopes dash. 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susato. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible through the task may seem, we have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need. I am curious about something really quick. If we want to check this photo. Okay, now her hand's not like pointing in that direction. But this is very clearly from the back of the hut.
Yeah, it's the back of the hut. Yeah.
I wonder, can you see the... Like, we can see this, obviously. But I don't see where a different one would have been. So maybe it is just this. I don't know.
I think it is just supposed to be that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that specific, though. Ray gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment when Miss Brett was killed.
The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet, and before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back.
How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but for herself and Ray? Well, because this beach hut was essentially made out of fucking hopes and dreams. It's like...
It might as well have been made of sand, like...
What do you mean, how was she stabbed? Somewhere amid all the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question.
I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add?
So, the gallant yokel student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I'm ready to deliver my final verdict on the matter.
This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she or them stab the victim?
I know how.
I know how. Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being. The time being's here.
No!
Oh, no. Oh? Sorry, let me try that sassier. Oh? To what end, counsel? The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
An alternative theory? Ha! None exists!
Objection! There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime.
What?
There was someone else! And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time. By mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger... finger... in the killer's direction.
This is
Kid
fiction,
named
fantasy.
Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, counsel, I'm prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryutaro Naruhodo,
Yes, Your Excellency.
you will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed?
Outside the
Outside.
hut, so like behind. Yeah, like
Yeah.
right there.
Like right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Naruhodo-san would never give up. And I'm a Naruhodo now.
Wait, that's not how that works.
Well, okay. The true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Brett was concealed in this location here.
Are you mad, counsel?
hey, thanks for the Prime
Unhinged.
sub.
You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut?
And also thank you for the left shark. That's his name. The left shark's listening.
God, how long ago was Left Shark at this point? That was like
Very long time
2016,
ago.
wasn't it? Hold
What?
on, I'm Googling that. That was when Katy Perry did the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2016.
Boy,
My
howdy.
God.
That's much
8
longer
years.
ago than I thought.
8 years.
Oh man. I'm just gonna skip the orders. I assume you've said enough of those in your lifetime.
Yeah, like it's incredible. I don't know how voice actors don't lose their minds if they have to repeat a word a lot. Because I'm
If their
just
character
sick
has a
of saying the word
catchphrase,
order.
it's like, oh boy.
But student lawyer Naruhodo-san Esquire. That makes no sense at all.
You've just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. But I didn't see any suspicious individuals
Dang.
loitering about. I can swear to that. Obviously,
Well.
if the culprit had been outside the hut, there's no way he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut.
Is everyone just pretending that this hut was made out of something sturdier than reeds? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Actually, Professor Ouchie, there is a goddamn prosecutor. I just can't stop reading that word as professor. Prosecutor.
There is a professor in the room at least, so you have that excuse.
That's really throwing me off.
Ah!
And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that is precisely the way Miss Brett was killed.
You're bluffing! You're bluffing, you yokel!
The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut?
I guess it'd be this picture. There's a
Photo?
There's an obvious spot where...
Well, what about the photo of him taking the picture? Because that was through the hut. Through a big hole.
Yeah.
I feel like that one is going to be more likely to be the case. Because then they'll be like, what do you mean by that? And they'll be like, then we can bring up the testimony of him thrusting his camera through. Because he used the word thrust.
Yeah.
With the camera.
I think this was not it.
Well, I've presented it now. I haven't the first idea why I chose this piece of evidence.
Counsel, you're suggesting that this piece of evidence bears out your theory as how the victim was stabbed?
It's something of a windfall, Your Excellency.
I think the word you were looking for, Counsel, was downfall. Okay, so I guess it is the other one. If your theory is correct, the knife was thrust into Miss Brett's back from outside the tent. There should be a visible trace somewhere.
So it is the first photo. Okay.
Thrust. Thrust, Moller guy.
Thrust.
Court record again. Yeah. Excellency, the defense would like to present a different piece. Yeah, the correct one. We know. We know how this goes.
Blah, blah, blah.
Bam!
The original photographic print of the crime scene?
I still feel like the second photo makes more sense. But I will acquiesce that they both show, in fact, that the reed hut is made of reeds.
Yeah.
Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut.
Objection? Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing.
It's right there. I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to.
It's Soseki-san. Look how he's trembling.
Dude's looking through dimensions right now.
Counsel, once again, I must call on you to be explicit for the court.
But was the floor made of floor? No, the floor was made of sand.
Right there, in the back of the hut. The thing in the back of the hut that everyone can see with their eyes. Look closely just here. Wow.
Well, how did we get a different... How did that change
to
a different angle?
Whoa,
that was impressive.
That's crazy. How did they do that one? Wait a second. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds.
No, I can't. I can't see any such thing.
It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls, as you'd expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them. Yeah, everyone's acting like this shit is like, we're not talking about the 3rd Little Pig house. We're talking about like the 1st Little Pig house, guys.
It's not even logs, bro.
It's not even like full-ass sticks. It's reeds. Do you know how easily you can get things through reeds?
Easier than getting a camel through the eye of a needle, certainly.
Certainly. Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. Ah. And of everyone present at the scene, there's only one person who could have done that.
Inspector
Only
Hosonaga.
one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Raiten Menimemo-san. I forgot the pun. That was his name for a sec. It could only have been you.
Now!
Damn, he's really stanced up when he's
Objection!
doing that, huh?
This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies in almost exactly the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume as part of this farcical scenario that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection!
What? No, she just fell forward. What? Excuse you? No, of course not.
We're not?
Have you recalled the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death?
Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as untouchable.
Untouchable.
It was something like that. Ah, a stool?
Have another look at the photograph. Well, this dude really just doesn't apprehend?
He doesn't apprehend
Any-
information. He doesn't put it in jail.
That either. He just doesn't comprehend anything about a photograph until you point to it, huh? The slit in the reed screen. Slit in the reed screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool.
My word! So in fact, the victim was...
Killed while sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen.
Ah!
Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut. Because all your breath is driven out of you. Have you seen the behind the scenes of The Lord of the Rings? Before the defendant, Mabami-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. He's gonna start laughing again. Gonna have a chuckle. By his silence, Menimemo-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge.
This is absurd!
That will do!
That was
Guilty.
fun. That's a
Bam.
fun mix-up.
It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter, which means that the defendant, Mabami-san, is innocent of the crime.
Wow, that was easy.
Oh,
We didn't have to
Thank
talk about the
goodness.
poison at all.
yeah, I really thought we were gonna have to... I mean, is it gonna be a twist where he's gonna start laughing halfway through this and be like, what about the poison?
Oh, definitely.
Or something. I finally made him cave.
I must say, I've never been more proud. No, this can't be. The Ouchie clan can't. What of my growth? My growth of hope? It wasn't all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't.
I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude proceedings by delivering my final
Hold
verdict.
it!
Wow, who could have seen this coming?
Ha! 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 Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals.
But we've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut, through the reed screen walls.
And no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand in the hilt of a blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now.
Irrelevant?
Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed, it doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. Look at this fucking villain pose, dude.
What are you talking about?
Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up.
What about the poison? The poison for Cusco, the Cusco poison. It's a perfectly cromulent argument. Man, what is that a quote from?
I would have to
I
Google
feel
it.
like I've heard. I feel like I've heard that exact phrasing.
It's a reference, I know that.
Yes, yes. I love cromulent. Ah, it's from The Simpsons. Right, embiggen.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's also where I get embiggen from.
Make big.
It's a perfectly cromulent word. I love saying embiggen. Embiggens the spirit. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Mulligan.
What? Enough obscurity! Explain yourself, witness!
What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison? Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That is correct. The unusual constriction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign this particular poison was used. I see, I see. So, presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed.
Yeah, but like you stabbing her would still be murder. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her blood.
You see, Your Honor. You can't convict me of hitting that small child with my car. He had already eaten 3,000 airheads and was about to die from a diabetic shock when I crashed into him.
Ah, how refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Fuck off. Precisely! It matters not a jot who stabbed whom in whose back and with whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison.
Objection!
Except it was literally taken by the knife. That's in the post-mortem. But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
Objection! Forgotten already, have we, yokel? During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever.
Ugh.
So let me get this down. The facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turned out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right?
Me on my way to, like, poison someone before someone else shoots them. So that I am guilty instead. You fools.
But where does this leave us? How in that case did the poison enter the victim's body?
Pen. There's an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it.
You mean she drank it?
That's what I said. Have another look at this photograph here, as you can see.
Could have just said drank it, Father. I don't know why you're this way.
A bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked onto the sandy floor of the beach hut.
Ooh, carbonated water.
Carbonated water.
Delicious.
The poison could have been slipped into either.
So somebody made Miss Brett drink it.
Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This would make for a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Established? What are you talking about?
Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you.
Me?
His
What on
excuse
earth does
is
he
genuinely, I stabbed her. I couldn't have poisoned her beforehand.
I
That would
couldn't
be
have
ridiculous.
poisoned her because I stabbed her. Don't you
Ooh, let me capture those
understand,
wide eyes.
idiot?
This is prime press fodder, this is.
You see, you can't convict me of murder because I did a different later murder. It turns out murder is first come, first serve.
If you
Your
do it
Honor.
twice, it doesn't count. The second one doesn't count.
Your Honor, I may have pushed that old woman down the stairs, but she was having a heart attack before I did that. So really,
if you think about it.
if you break it down, let me break it down for you, Mark.
She was dead before she hit the bottom.
This is an insane argument that should be laughed out of court. Like, did you know she was poisoned and then you stabbed her going, oh, this won't matter at all. She's already been poisoned.
I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony.
That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency.
You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim.
I'm a journo and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now because that's Menimemoism. Poisoned.
For a brief moment, I thought I'd
Swissy
illuminate
PT
the
is
truth,
playing Source SDK base 2007.
but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where's this trial going to take us?
We can find out next week.
It's a really long starting trial.
Yeah. It's especially because we already know. Like, we already figured it out.
Yeah, that's not helping. It's doing the thing where it's like, oh, but we have to get through every step, and it's like, but why? I already know.
Well, some people that
steps.
play games are stupid. But yeah, thanks for watching,
That shouldn't
everybody.
be an
Tomorrow,
excuse.
what's Wednesday? I think I put Mario down for tomorrow. Yes. All right. We'll play Paper Mario tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Bye.
Would be